Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona, for having us, and welcome everyone. And I hope everyone's been keeping well and warm as well. It's rainy in Sydney, so we're enjoying the time. But just as Fiona introduced today, it's all great to have you here. And today we'll be going through the second part of our Tech Thursday CRM booklet series. So as always, as our forward-looking statement, just want to remind everyone to make your purchasing decisions based on currently available products. And if there's any that come up in the discussion, we'll be sure to remind you as well. There's no Salesforce presentation without starting with a thank you. So thank you, F&P, especially, and Fiona for having us and hosting the session, and also everyone for joining us today, especially if it's during your lunchtime, as well as for taking your time off your day to join this webinar. For today, we will be going through the recap of what we discussed previously. Just to remind everyone, we'll be focusing a lot on digital engagement and what solutions you can leverage using Salesforce. And as mentioned, there will be a Q&A at the end. So if you do have questions, feel free to raise it in the chat and we'll be happy to address them. So previously on last week, not last week, in our previous part, what we discussed about how we can take a look at the platform capabilities, how you can get started with a nonprofit cloud to have that 360-degree view of your supporters. And we looked into our nonprofit success pack, which serves as the foundation of the Salesforce Customer 360 platform. And this is the out-of-the-box capabilities. And this week, we'll be looking at is using this data we have on our CRM, how can we then take it into engaging with our supporters even further through our digital engagement channels? So this week, what we will be talking about is more focus on our marketing automations, as well as our Experience Cloud, which is our self-service portal. These are the add-on products that Salesforce offer, and we'll be taking a look at enhancing that donor engagement. As for the recap as well, we talked about Salesforce being the CRM, but it's more than the customer relationship management solution. Salesforce is a platform, and today we'll be seeing how you can use that 360-degree view of your supporter and how you can scale as your organization grow, and extending it beyond just the CRM capability, and hence looking into our marketing and experience capability and see how you can take advantage of these solutions that we have in place. So now I would like to introduce you to Stefan, who is our engagement specialist, and he'll be walking you through what it looks like in the lenses of digital engagement world.
Awesome. Thank you, Brenda, and great to meet everyone. So really, our industry is evolving faster than ever, and so are its supporters. So they're both more diverse in their demographic and behavior, what they want and their needs. And from research, data shows that demographic shifts in our population also impact our constituents. So let's dive a little bit deeper in those changes. Today's constituents are increasingly digital first, and they have distinct ways in which they want to be engaged. They use technologies like email, mobile devices, apps, and social networks to engage with their peers and brands. So while email is still the preferred channel of most supporters, social and mobile are increasingly important to leverage when engaging today's younger supporters. No matter the age, one thing is clear though, a one-size-fits-all approach to communication does not work. In fact, the way non-for-profits choose to engage with their constituents directly impacts if those individuals will continue to engage with them. A recent study shows that more than half of today's constituents will stop supporting an organization because another provided a better experience. So how are organizations working to create meaningful experiences that attract and retain long-term supporters? Well, leading non-for-profits are transforming the constituent experience by making sure they meet their constituents' expectations for how they want to be engaged. To do so, they're investing in strategies that ensure that their constituents are first known, regardless of the device or channel they're engaging on. Secondly, constituents also want to make sure they're recognized and remembered by making sure engagements are personalized, connected across all touch points and in context to their relationship and giving history. And finally, making an impact by providing powerful data that spotlights the contribution and impact they've made. And from our experience, we are finding that a growing number of nonprofit marketers are taking the lead to define the constituent experience at their organization. But to be honest, doing this is difficult. From my experience dealing with nonprofit, I'm seeing a lot of organizations dealing with disconnected and fragmented systems. From web to social to tracking donations and events, there are multiple systems with multiple data silo that many nonprofits need to navigate in order to create these experiences for their supporters. When these systems don't work well together, the result is overwhelming, with duplicates and dirty data, blockages, and other major hurdles that make personalization difficult, manual, or just downright impossible. So how can organizations create meaningful experiences that attract and retain long-term supporters? Well, our vision for marketing for non-for-profits is to help marketing teams reach audiences at scale to drive their conversion and performance. We can do this because our goal is a fully connected system with channels and online fundraising and event partners that allows you to drive your segmentation, build triggers for transactional emails, or journeys that are personalized and automated. Every marketer having that 360-degree view through full integration to the nonprofit success pack data model, which allows you to manage all your gifts and programs with data integrity and the ability to leverage and act on this data for predictions. And the best part is that you can get started faster with the right setup, free online training, and out-of-the-box email and journey templates. So now that we've gone through the evolving world of digital experiences, let's jump into today's demonstration. And for that, we'll follow the journey of our persona, Rachel Morris, and her experience with Project Charity, which is our fictitious nonprofit organization. We'll have a look at how Project Charity is able to improve the end-to-end donor engagement experience, capitalizing on their data to gain new donors, followed by engaging existing donors in a meaningful way to create stewardship. I will then pass it over to Brenda to look at Rachel's donor self-service experience and how she can easily access her donation history and solve her questions quickly. So first, let's meet Rachel. She's 41, lives in Sydney with her family, and Rachel is one of the re-engaged donors from Project Charity's most recent appeal. With the information that we have captured about Rachel and other great supporters within Nonprofit Cloud, we use then Marketing Cloud and lookalike audiences on advertising channels like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to put our first-party data to work and find more of those great supporters. Now, what's great is that the transfer of information between Salesforce and those advertising channels is done in an automated and secure way in comparison to having to download data in a CSV format from disparate systems. And this can be used for suppression as well. So imagine how much further your advertising budget would last if you were suppressing your Become a New Donor advertising to recent supporters. Now from there, let me introduce you to our other persona, Laura Rossi, who has never engaged with Project Charity before. But because she has similar characteristics to Project Charity supporters, Facebook presents a lead capture ad to Laura while she browses Facebook. From there, Project Charity can capture Laura's information like a postcode, but also see if Laura would also be interested to volunteer for Project Charity. And all that information is automatically passed back to Salesforce. Now, we're going to go back to Rachel's new donor journey. As soon as her donation was made, Rachel was dropped onto an omni-channel journey within Marketing Cloud. For the first step of this journey, Project Charity sent Rachel an email to understand more about her experience, but also capture more information about Rachel to understand more about her and what she cares about. The great thing here is that Rachel can interact with this content directly within her inbox, like Outlook, Gmail, and others, without being taken to a separate landing page. And from the research we've done, people are 3 times more likely to interact with this interactive content in comparison to being taken to another channel. Now, the great thing here is that all the information captured will also influence Rachel's journey going forward. Now, let's jump into Marketing Cloud to see what the journey looks like and how Project Charity's marketers are able to create that omni-channel experience to deliver the right message at the right time and on the right channel. This is Journey Builder, and this is where you can really define those entry sources of your marketing journey. You can add any kind of channels that you want to use, from email, SMS, WhatsApp, push notification, direct mail, but also link that to any kind of advertising channels that you might be using, like the likes of Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, etc. Now, the great thing as well is that you can always tap into the power of artificial intelligence just to make sure that using send time optimization, you are going to send the right message at the right time, depending on your supporter most likelihood to engage with your content. On that, also, you're able to always link your data back into the Salesforce CRM in order to maybe create a task for anyone within your organization, or maybe just update someone's campaign responses as well. On that, I'll just recap on what we just went through. So we just had a look on how Project Charity is able to capitalize on the data to gain new donors in an automated and secure way, as well as how they could engage existing donors in a meaningful way and on the channel of their choice to create stewardship. I will now pass it over to Brenda to take you through Rachel's donor self-service experience.
Thank you, Stefan. Now that we have seen how Rachel has been engaged through this marketing platform, we're now going to take a look at from the perspective of that self-service experience through that Salesforce connected platform. Today, we're going to take a look at Rachel in her donor portal. She's going to then seek out for support as she has an inquiry that she needs to submit. So now let's take a look at what it looks like. We are now logged onto the donor portal as Rachel, who has access to her personalized supporter data. This is achieved using Experience Cloud, which we like to call it a window into Salesforce. This authenticated portal is where supporters like Rachel can view their personal information, activities, connect with the peers, as well as get support using this secure platform. This creates that self-service experience for supporters like Rachel, not only to see the impact that she has had on the organization, but also see all of these updated information without having to get anyone from Project Charity involved. Rachel scrolls down to review that contribution she has made so far. And for her as an ongoing supporter, this dashboard is her achievement wall. She is reminded every time she logs in of all the contributions that she has made in helping youth from the Project Charity. The numbers aren't the only one that tells the story. If we look down a bit further as well, we can see all the blog articles and news items that showcases where her time and money invested contribute towards the cause as well. Using Salesforce CMS, Project Charity is able to drive these content and tailor them accordingly based on Rachel data and make sure that all of the information stays relevant to whoever is logged in. Now, Rachel is going to take a look at her latest contribution to see the donation that she has made. It looks like one of the donations she made recently hasn't shown up, and what she wants to do is to seek for help. There are many ways she can do that. She can look at the FAQ, she can ask someone for support, she can contact someone from Project Charity. And today, what she's going to do is to just post up a question within the community forum. This community forum is where she can get easy access to the responses, not only from the Project Charity team, but also from any other supporters that are in place. She posted a question within the community that might be taking a bit to show up. Essentially, this is where anyone, like any other supporters, are able to then respond to her questions. In this way, Project Charity doesn't really need to be involved and be available 24/7. Supporters can help each other out as well. This collaborative experience on this secure portal allows the supporters to have that community experience, not only within among each other, but also with the project charity. And especially when we're in this hybrid world of working virtually and physically, this is a good place for them to connect with each other as well. Now, what Rachel wants to do, as Stefan is showcasing, is to then post it up. But what she's going to do is now to connect with someone by starting a chat. So as a logged in user, Rachel doesn't really need to fill in her information as it's already been pre-filled. And this interaction is also logged against her profile back onto the CRM. So anyone from Project Charity can refer back to it for any tickets that has been raised. As she goes through, she is prompted with a few questions that are based on the frequently asked questions. The charity bot is going to help her resolve the issue that she has, which is a missing receipt. Just by going through a few clicks, she's able to get the answer that she needs straight away. And this is an example of how simple queries can be deflected using the likes of a self-service experience, whether it be a bot or an FAQ, cutting down the hours that you spend during the admin time, and especially for the supporter services team as well, to be able to focus on a high value, more complex tickets that are raised by your supporters. While Rachel is here, she also wants to update her information. So she's going to type that in. And as you can see, using the natural language processing capability from the bot, it is able to understand the questions that are typed in by the supporter and the intent as well. And this is something that you can teach the bot to do. And in this case, Rachel can ask the question that she has, the bot easily walks her through some of the steps as well. Similarly, she's just going to go through a few clicks, and now she has also updated her contact preferences, which is updated on her CRM, on the data. And this is something that the marketing team can now leverage to automate these engagement processes in place. What you have seen here is that within a few minutes, Rachel was not only able to solve the issue, but also able to make changes to her information using the authenticated self-service experience. Throughout this whole interaction, we did not have anyone from Project Charity involved, and this is to show the way that you can enhance your donor experience as well as your team experience by providing with that self-service portal and making sure all the questions and queries are addressed as well. So Rachel is just going to wrap up her day today, and she's just going to leave the portal. And from that as well, what we have seen today is that end-to-end supporter engagement journey. So we're going to wrap up this demo live demonstration and back at Stefan by showcasing how we can track all of these important metrics that are useful for the marketing team. Over to you, Stefan.
Thank you, Brenda. That looks awesome. And so I guess really to wrap everything up and going back to our marketing and advertising activities, it's great to obviously do those activities, but it's also even better to be able to understand what's working and what's not in real time. And this is where with Datorama, you're able to connect all those different platforms that you might be using. So the likes of Marketing Cloud, Facebook advertising, Google Analytics, Google advertising, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, etc., and connect all of them into that unified data model, which then makes it very easy for project charity marketers to understand what's performing and what's not, which are the channels that actually providing those donations, which are the ones that actually their constituents are performing with, understanding within those different campaigns that they're performing, which are the audiences that are really interacting with specific content. What is that ROI that is very quickly leveled up or highlighted to me as a marketer to understand what's performing. The great thing as well here, again, going back to our Einstein capabilities, our artificial intelligence, Einstein is actually leveraging those key insights directly to me as a marketer to understand which audiences are really performing well, which specific campaigns, maybe which campaigns are not performing as well. And I might go back to the drawing board as a marketer to understand how I could make that campaign perform better in real time. Now here again, it's also highlighting any kind of content that is performing well across different assets, which creatives are performing really well. And finally, I can take actions directly from this dashboard as a marketer. If I want to decide to maybe increase budget for a specific campaign because it's performing well, I can run that action directly from that Datorama dashboard. I can also, if I want to, run an action to send the highlights and how all my different marketing campaigns are performing to all my key stakeholders across my organization. And all that can be done from that one single dashboard. On that, I'll pass it back over to Brenda to wrap it up.
Thank you, Steph. So what we have seen today was how we were able to leverage our existing donor information to gain new data by looking at our lookalike audiences. And we take a look at that automated marketing journey through different channels that are preferred channels from our supporters at the right place, at the right time, at the right channel as well. We also take a look at that self-service portal and how donors are able to engage with Project Charity directly through that. So thank you everyone for your time today. And with that as well, we will have our part 3 of this series coming up in December. So make sure you register for it and join in as well. This time we'll be taking a look at how you can further advance that mission using the analytics as well as some of the automations that are in place through the platform. So again, thank you everyone. Thank you, Stefan, as well for your presentation. And we'll be answering the questions in the chat.
Brenda and Stefan, thank you so much. That was great. I'm going to put a few questions to you. We have got a few minutes for questions. So I'm going to start with a question here from Helen, who asks if this software can combine venue visitor experience as well as donors if you have both. So I think she's asking, can it deal with supporters who visit you in person?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess any physical interaction always will need to be recorded in some way. So it could be recorded through, I guess, a QR code at the venue that someone would enter, and that would then that information would pass back onto Salesforce. It could be in forms of an iPad with a form available on that iPad where people would then like register their attendance, or it could be just you might actually capture or get a CSV file. Let's say you're attending an event and you're getting a CSV file of all the people that attended. You will then obviously import that information into Salesforce. So there's different ways you can do it, but yes, there are really a number of ways you could look at capturing that data. As I said, from you always will need to, in a way, register it in a digital form, that through QR form submission or maybe CSV data upload.
Brilliant, thank you. I've got a question here about email. It's a two-part question. So can you just confirm, first of all, you obviously spoke about Marketing Cloud. Can you use Marketing Cloud to actually design and send emails? So that's the first part of the question.
Yep. So yeah, definitely. So Marketing Cloud is your true omni-channel engine. So it does, as I said, it does email, SMS, WhatsApp, push notifications if you have an app. It does link to advertising channels as well. So again, in an automated and secure way, which is really key whenever you're dealing with identifiable data. Now, the great thing is obviously building an email within Marketing Cloud is all drag and drop. One thing as well that I really want to highlight, which is what we presented over the presentation, is that interactive content. So the ability for your subscribers to interact with emails directly from their inbox, which I believe is really a game changer compared to others. I guess that ability really increase engagement. As I was saying, like people are 3 times, based on research, people are 3 times more likely to interact with your content if it's directly from the inbox compared to being taken to a landing page. And fun facts, Marketing Cloud is actually the biggest sender of email worldwide. So as an engine, there is no engine out there that actually sends more emails, marketing emails across the world. So that's always a fun fact to know.
Yes, and that's a really interesting fact about it being interactive in the inbox. I'd love to see that in action. So second part of the question is, obviously a lot of organizations are currently using tools like MailChimp for email. Would your recommendation when it comes to best practice be that they start by integrating MailChimp or whatever tool or Campaign Monitor, whatever they're using, integrate it with Salesforce? Or would you recommend that they start with Marketing Cloud?
I guess, obviously there is always a number of considerations to take into account. I do believe that obviously it does take work to integrate. We were talking about different systems and creating siloed data, which then creates a lot of manual work and potential like CSV import, export, and then email preference center are recorded in one spot but not in another, and then you tend to send the wrong email to the wrong people. So it does, when you have separate system, it does really create some challenges. I would say that we at Salesforce we have like 2 marketing automation platforms. One that is maybe like a better or an evolution of MailChimp, and then Marketing Cloud, which is then really taking that next level into omni-channel and etc. So I would say, instead of spending sometimes time and change management into trying to connect disparate systems, maybe going with the starting clean from the get-go would potentially be my consideration. And yeah, we've got some really great offers for non-for-profits, so definitely something that I would say probably look at the solutions that we have. The great thing as well with Marketing Cloud for not-for-profit is it actually comes with journeys out of the box as well as email out of the box for non-for-profits. Mostly at the moment it's fundraising use cases, but this is going to grow as well. So it could be welcome. There is a welcome new donor journey. There is a one-off donor to recurring donor journey. So all that are things that you can tap into from really starting to use Marketing Cloud for non-for-profits.
Brilliant. Thank you, Stefan. And now we have got to 1 o'clock, but I'm going to ask one more question. So hopefully people can stick around for a couple of minutes, because I think this is an interesting one. We want our volunteers to be able to log on to the portal as well. Is that possible?
I'm happy to take that question. The answer is yes. So think of the portal as like a segment of your CRM, where users, the supporters, can securely log on to see their own personal data. And in this instance, yes, you'll be able to have volunteers to be able to log in as well, and for them to sign up for the shift, for them to log the hours, or otherwise it's extendable beyond volunteers and donors as well, in that we can start thinking about your clients and your participants. For example, we know that Red Kite, they have their portal for the health professionals and the parents to be able to apply their financial assistance program and have that self-service journey itself as well. So this Experience Cloud itself can be extended beyond one use case. It depends on whether you would like to get that self-service access to your users, as well as to have that virtual community experience as well. For example, Scout Student then has their virtual Scout experience for the kids and the Scout leaders as well, with different use cases.
Sorry, I muted myself there. Thank you, Brenda, for that answer. And thank you both for being here today. That was really informative. And we will wrap up now, just because I know people have got to go off to other meetings. So thank you, Brenda and Stefan, and thank you everyone for being here today. We hope you can join us next Thursday at 12:30, when we will be joined by iRaiser for our next Tech Thursday webinar. So we're having a couple of comments come through here. Thank you. That was really insightful. Yes, it was. So thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon and rest of week, and we shall see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us, Fiona, and thank you for your time, everyone.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.